Hello, everybody. My name is Master Chen.
I'm Zenify.
And you are either watching or listening to Greynoise. All right, everybody. Welcome to Greynoise, the podcast with us on it. We'll get into that in a second. This is episode 175 of the podcast. We are here. It is Friday night, so it is 7:30. We are here at the Sin Shop. Go to sinshop.org for information on the hackerspace. The address is 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. You know, I do kind of debate on giving out that address because I think maybe one day somebody might come and murder me.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Because
you're a very hateful person.
Yeah, I know people just hate me. I'm not hateful. Like, I'm not full of hate, but I can see why people might want to murder me. Anyway, so you can come to this address. But the reason why I still give out that address is because obviously we do not see a crux here.
He's lost.
Yeah, he's lost. No, I actually did see him earlier today, but that's neither here nor there because he's not here nor there. Anyway, go to Greynoise for information on us. That's GREYNOI.se. I did fuck up. Remember, go to meetup.com/sinshop for information on our classes. We have classes on basic electronics, programming, 3D printing, danger room stuff. So we are your Las Vegas Valley hackerspace. I think I did that right. Zenify's quiet as usual. So
yeah. Sick, dude.
Yeah, he's working on his second drink, so maybe I'll get some words out of him today. Now, here's something that I want to bring up. Last week, I just had Satchel, and I was actually ready for a solo show. Okay, but he then decided to show up. This week, I have you.
Yeah.
So I think if patterns serve me correctly, next week will probably only be me and Doxy, and you two will find other reasons to not be here. Yeah. So that's okay. I get some one-on-one time with everybody. Everybody just wants to spend one-on-one time with me. We haven't had a four-man host or four-person host for the past 3 weeks. So
something like that. I don't know, dude. I don't keep track.
There you go. So awesome. Let's see. Do you have any announcements before we get into the stuff?
No, I usually just remind you about Lockpick Night, but that just passed.
Yeah, Lockpick Night just passed, and there was a very successful one with pizza and beer.
Was it really?
Yes, there was pizza and beer.
Why didn't you tell me these things? I would have showed up.
I didn't know until they showed up. I didn't know until the beer and the pizza showed up. That was not my doing.
Well, someone still didn't mention it.
Yeah, by the way, this episode is brought to you by 151. They're not a sponsor. They're just bringing you to it.
I'm not having any.
No, but he does have, again, they're not sponsors, but the show is also brought to you by Angry Orchard.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking over you, dude. My bad. Okay, so you have no other announcements?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So every now and then we run out of topics. Now, we don't run out of shit to say, like as we know how we sign off, but we sometimes run out of topics as far as like what we want to come up with organically. Now, last week was a great topic, and let me, Zenify, since you weren't here. Yeah, let me. So what I'm going to do is I'll give you like 5 minutes to maybe elaborate on what we were talking about last week, okay? So really quick, around the holidays, as you can tell, we are short-staffed, so we kind of revisit some old topics, and maybe if we could become clear on our definitions, that'll be a great thing, right? So last week, we got into the discussion of what is a hacker. Now, here are the rules, though. Okay, here's the rules. Hacking transcends technology. It's not just about technology. You can hack more than just technology, right?
Yeah, of course.
Or else there wouldn't be such things as like social engineering, lockpicking, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So what would your definition of a hacker be without describing it in technical terms?
Somebody doing something with a thing that it wasn't originally intended to do.
Okay. Yeah, that's so precise. That's so. No, okay. So now the three word definition that I came up with last week, and like somebody else was very close to my definition. I said unorthodox. Is everything? Okay. Everybody okay in the audience there? We heard a bang, and we just want to make sure that we didn't kill anybody already. Perfect. All right. Good. We're alive. All right. So, by the way, lively audience tonight. Awesome. Okay. So my 3-word definition was unorthodox problem solver.
Okay.
And that's pretty all-encompassing. Now, I gave that definition before we got into the discussion.
Yeah.
And then we came up with a couple of things that, like, a hacker needs. For instance, a hacker needs to be persistent.
Okay.
A hacker needs to be curious. So if that helps in your definition...
What would the definition of persistent be like?
Well, think about it. Like, as hackers, we never give up.
Yeah, so, okay, I can see.
We never give up. So if there's a problem, we're going to keep... And I actually have a story about this in a second. But we keep going until either the problem is solved or it is like...
So that's the key part in my head. When like some people say like persistent, it's like just something doing the same thing over and over and over again, but they're not really changing up the game, which is the definition of insanity. So that's where I was kind of think you were originally going. But no, now that you explained it, I get it.
Like when you're persistent, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing the same thing without changing any variables.
Yeah.
You try it one way, you change a variable, and then you change what's going on. And so there's the persistence. We also have curiosity as one of our requirements.
Traits.
Yeah, one of our traits, exactly. I'm going to let you think about your definition. We already have somebody at the community mic. I think that's a new record. A community mic. Remember, it's brought to you by Chenbox Development. Training. That's all I got. Go ahead.
That's a good plug for, okay.
That's a great plug.
Right.
Shut up. I'm drunk.
I'm thinking hacker, unauthorized access getter.
Unauthorized access getter?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Wait, am I supposed to think of 3 words to use?
No. That's just how I started.
Well, he said 3 words. I
Yeah.
want to do 3 words.
Wait. Now, somebody, and this person is in the audience, but okay, so I used the term unorthodox. This person used something very similar, like incredibly similar.
Unauthorized.
No, well, you're using unauthorized. Just put UN in front of everything, and then like that's the definition of hacker.
in front of everything.
Yeah. But okay, so unauthorized access getter.
Yeah,
Now, are you specifically describing Black Hat?
I would say that's.
You see,
Yeah,
so
I see what you mean.
I'm not trying to pigeonhole us into a technical definition. I'm talking about more of like a philosophical definition where you don't need technology to describe hacker. I'm using air quotes there.
I'm gonna sit back down.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I shut the community mic up for a second. Zenify.
He's going to ponder a little
He's going to
more,
ponder
okay?
a little bit. But what do you got for me?
I mean, I still kind of stand by my first little bit, even though it was very like vague. But I only did it vaguely because I didn't want to include any technical terms because he told me not to.
Okay.
So I mean that's pretty much it. Is like you're given a problem or a curiosity, and you act on that problem or curiosity, and you consecutively just throw shit at the wall, and once something sticks, you're like, oh, I got it.
Yeah. And aren't you surprised when it does happen that way?
Yeah, no, I mean, that stuff happened to me today. I was changing firewall rules, and then I was like, boom, oh shit, that one worked. Probably shouldn't do that on Fridays.
Don't ever do that on Friday. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about the word surprise, I'm thinking if I was to expand it to a 4-word definition, it would be like a surprised unorthodox problem solver. Like you throw shit at the wall, it sticks. You're like, oh, surprised.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's also what drives a lot of quote unquote hackers is once you get that shit stuck to the wall, you're all of a sudden extremely excited and way more motivated than the last 10 steps, and you just want to move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually do have a story about that this week, but we'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
I did get confirmation on the UN word. It was unconventional. So I said
I thought it was
unorthodox.
United Nations.
No, not United Nations. Don't worry about them. that has nothing at the moment to do with hacking. So, all right, so let me tell my story really quick.
All right, tell it.
First of all, did you have anything crazy going on this week?
No. I thought of something in the car on the way over here, but maybe it was just somebody pissing me off in traffic. And I don't know. It's not really related to this, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, fair enough. So speaking of, now that you're caught up from last week's episode, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of just unorthodox problem solver and that persistence and that tenacity to just keep going, I've been working on analyzing data, like really big sets of data, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not the greatest at code or anything. And so what I was trying to do...
You did use your Ruby for a while, so...
Shut up. I'm using Python now, all right?
Nah, that's better.
Give me a break. Which, by the way, Ruby is still a fantastic language.
It's totally fine. It's just because you used it while everybody else in the group used Python, we give you shit for it until the end of time.
I know. And now when I started adopting Python, everybody's like, yeah, we're kind of moving on to Rust or some shit. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, so I was working with this data set, and, I was working with... all the cool libraries, right? Like NumPy and all these great, crazy things that make data analysis pretty easy.
Okay.
But I kept getting stuck at this part. And I've been working on this data for a couple of weeks. And remember, I don't like to ask for help until I have explored like every avenue of something that would break my brain. And so I put actually in our Discord, which, by the way, side note, if you're not on our Discord yet, go to Greynoise/Discord, and you can chat with us and hang out with us and ask us questions. We're here all week, not just Friday nights. So you can chat with us and ask us questions and have a good time.
Yeah, even if it looks dead for the moment, we're still there watching.
Actually, yeah, because of somebody in our audience, I'm going to say his name. Because of Muffins, you can put a question in there and like literally your max wait time is like 5 minutes.
And it's first-off conversation.
Somebody will have an answer for you. Yeah, there you go. All right. So again, though, I threw that question into Discord, and right away I had, okay, well, you could split the data this way, and then you can easily graph it. I was like, okay, cool. So I got the data split into 2 arrays because I'm trying to graph it as an XY axis, computer axis kind of thing. And then I got to that point, but then I got to another point where the graph wasn't displaying. And I was like, fuck, because I do all of my Linux work in a terminal. I don't have, at least for what I'm working on, I don't have a GUI. I don't have a graphical user interface. I don't have like a mouse or whatever. It's all just command line. So I was like, fuck, how do I view this? And so I had another person in the Discord say, okay, look, do it this way, and then save it as a picture, and then put this picture somewhere viewable. So I could throw it, like, let's say, on a web server, and here's the image that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And so it was great to finally have that breakthrough.
Yeah.
And now that I know that I can do this, I can move on to the next step.
Yeah.
But there's that persistence. Like, I never gave up, and it's okay to ask for help after
it's
you've...
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have been today about, I was reading a Medium article about imposter syndrome, and a lot of key points in there was whenever somebody starts talking about, let's say, just like random example, like TensorFlow. Not a lot of people know what that is, but if you're in a group of people that are quote unquote, smart, like really smart, a lot of them won't answer with, oh, I don't know what that is, and then ask a question and go, hey, what is that? Can you describe it to me? And then they go later on vigorously Googling, trying to figure out what it is. But I think that might be, the problem that you overcame is, it's okay to ask questions. Even if you think you have imposter syndrome, don't think you're going to get shit on by the community. It's just ask. Everybody in the community inherently wants to teach, I think. So not everybody, but a good amount.
Here's an example.
Okay.
Doxy.
Well, okay. Look,
now,
we can't talk about the guy that doesn't like cheese. No, he's an anomaly in the...
this is going to be an episode where we shit on Doxy a little bit.
Yeah,
but like, he doesn't necessarily like to help. By the way, remember, when you're done asking questions, you can always RTFM.
That's true.
Right. No, so I'm not above asking for help. That's not what I'm above. I just want to make sure that when I ask a question,
you've already exhausted.
It's after I've exhausted all these other resources.
And I feel like that's how you should approach it. Just because if you go to ask a question, you're not wasting the other person's time with them going, full throttle on an explanation when you've already exhausted these resources. They go, oh, okay, you've already made it this far. Here's where example.
Right. Now, again, I'm not above asking questions, and I think there's I want to say there's a right and a wrong way to ask questions. Like, here's a wrong way to ask a question. Hey, man, can you teach me how to hack? Okay, that's a wrong way to ask the question.
We get that so often.
We do. But the proper way to maybe ask the reasonably same question is, hey, man, I'm working on this. I've tried this and this and this and this. This is where I'm stuck. Where should I go from here? Maybe that's a better question to ask. Yeah. I don't think there's stupid... No, fuck it. There are stupid questions, and you'll get a stupid answer. We're going to open up Community Mic here in a second. Community Mic, remember, brought to you by Chenbox Development. Training. Go ahead.
The best way to get answers is to say, this is how to hack, and this is the right way to do it. And have everybody come back and tell you the right way to do it.
Oh, you are absolutely correct. Remember, On the internet, you just give the wrong answer, and then all the right answers come back at you.
I mean, that's true. Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, he fucked it up.
No,
for
he
you.
didn't fuck it up. I think you fucked it up.
What?
Yeah, I'm just gonna post blame to you. Muffins gave an answer.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we can move on to the next topic. But again, now that you're caught up, what would you say? And now I'm not constraining you to like 3 words.
Okay.
But what would a simplistic definition of hacker be? Again, no technical terms, because you have to transcend technology. Because hacking is more than just pen testing. It really is. And for all those people who say that it's just pen testing, fuck you. Go ahead.
Shit, dude. I don't know. Just like, I tried to do a thing. I couldn't do the thing. I tried over and over again. I found a new route to do the thing. Is that simplistic enough? Shit. I don't know. I thought my first one was kind of simplistic.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. You just use.
I just tried to. I reworded it with just
like,
things to not say. Yeah, I tried to access this database over and over and over again, and it turns out it was a new SQLite fucking bug that we were just talking about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. All right, so I guess I'll accept your definition, although I think I totally win with with the 3-word definition.
You're a better talker.
You think so?
Probably.
I don't know. I have my doubts.
You've done speeches. I haven't.
While that is a true statement, I think that your silence just means that I'm all over the place. That's what I think it means. So, all right. Now, again, now that we got you caught up, I actually had no topics for tonight.
Oh, great.
Surprise, surprise, right?
Well, that's it for the show.
No, shut up.
Fuck.
We've never run out of shit to say.
Wait. We got one thing.
What?
The SynShop definition of hacker.
Oh, you Googled it?
No. I Googled the SynShop definition of hacker.
Oh, I don't know.
You think that's indexed?
Okay,
No.
So what's the definition?
People who like to take things apart find out how they work.
Okay. Okay, that's actually a good definition because we're using the word things again, not database, not circuit board, not... Okay, that's fair.
That's better.
I still think mine's better.
Okay, sure.
Unorthodox problem solver. Anyway. Brought to you by Chenbox. Training. I think I like that. I'm going to keep it.
Is that like a joke from last week?
Yeah, okay. So last week, okay, now I got to catch you up on this part.
I didn't watch the show, dude, so.
All right. So last week I talked about how I started a company and how like the whole thing, and I'm not going to do the same episode as last week, but essentially I didn't like the way the public school system worked, but I love education. Okay. So I started a company about training. And so I am training a couple of people now, and we're going to train my way. Okay. And I have been a teacher before as far as like martial arts training. I've taught for more than a decade now. But I'm going to take those same principles and teach technology or, coding and hacking. And that's how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to approach the technological education with the old, dojo way of training, I think.
Okay.
I think that's a really good way to do it. Now, I can't give you push-ups. I mean, whatever. Or maybe I can, but...
Yeah, why wouldn't you be able to? I mean,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works. But yeah, so that's the second half of last week's episode.
Okay.
And if you haven't watched it, you can. Remember, that's episode 174. Okay, so again, we don't have any topics tonight, at least not ones that are planned. So what we usually do in cases like this is instead of doing a lightning round at the end of the show... By the way, we're not going to hackernews.com this time. We're going to arstechnica.com. They didn't have a security tab, like a security topics tab to just click on. So I didn't see any security topics, but you seem to have found it.
Yeah, it's the one that we used for the lightning rounds for like a year.
Yeah, and I've looked for it, and it kept saying 404 not found. I did arstechnica.com/topic/security. What's the URL?
/tag/security.
See, so they changed it.
Oh,
okay.
Did they?
Yeah, so I picked up business and IT, or business and information technology. So
okay, start reading some shit, dude.
I'll tell you what, we can go back and forth.
All right,
we can go back and forth. So I'll pick an article, you pick an article. Sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Sound fair? All right. So let's start with the first article that I have here. Let's see. Mass email hoax causes. Hold on. I'm drunk.
Goddamn, dude.
Okay. Mass email hoax causes. Clusters across
Goddamn,
closures.
Dude.
Sorry, it's closures across U.S. and Canada.
Okay.
So the only thing I wanted to talk about was, the simplest way to spoof an email still causes mass havoc.
What was? Oh wait, yes, that was the. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, it's hard to see, right? It's hard to see.
Well, I mean, it's
I'm
farther
blind.
away than me, dude. You were like right the fuck on it.
I'm blind as fuck. I'm blind and drunk. Leave me alone.
That was I think because I saw 20,000 Bitcoin there. Yeah, that's the bomb threat hoax that went around to a bunch of government agencies, financial institutions, just normal fucking businesses, and I mean that was a pretty interesting read.
So you already knew about it.
Yeah, I knew about it like Wednesday or some shit.
All right.
Or
Well,
yesterday, I can't remember. It was
Friday's the
yesterday.
only day I read the news.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. God.
Okay.
It's the only time
It's
I
like,
care.
dude,
No,
you're
I'm
missing
kidding.
out.
No, I'm kidding. No, but
Doesn't even do it for
a lot of people think that a hack needs to be like very elaborate and like very Ocean's 11 for it to work, right?
That'd be sick.
It would be sick, but it's not always necessary. Sometimes all it takes to get compromised is a spoofed email and
Brad Pitt.
he
was in Ocean's 11.
I mean, yeah, but we don't need him to hack.
I mean,
You know?
that'd be fucking pretty cool though.
All right, we'll call his people. No, but it's simple. It's always the simple stuff that gets the job done. A phishing email, and notice that like the hoax, it's a hoax, which means that there has to be human involvement. So that's a very big factor when it comes to a successful hack.
There was a member in the live stream channel that said the emails weren't even spoofed for the ones that they got.
Oh, shit.
It
All
was
right.
just more straight up bomb threats. And they, I mean, from the emails that I saw, they pretty much were. It wasn't. I don't think they were really trying to hide anything. Of course, like people were trying to track the Bitcoin addresses to see if anybody paid this $20,000 in Bitcoin. But I don't know that there was any reported cases of people actually paying this. There was just a lot of evacuations and a lot of down business time.
Right. So the same person here in the live stream, which by the way, if you're not on the live stream, you should be. But he also said that, they didn't really shut down. Like they kind of already knew that the threat was a scam.
Yeah.
So they didn't really feel threatened. They didn't feel like they needed to shut down. So now this just sounds like a sensationalized headline.
Why would you
Mass
interpret that as not being like spammy or spoofy? Mine, I'll tell you mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe you can play off it. Mine would be instant. When I see an email that's starting to demand Bitcoin, I throw that shit out immediately. I'm
Right.
like, all right.
But why? Why do you not take that seriously?
Well, I don't anymore because this day and age, if you're trying to leverage the Bitcoin path, it's more or less likely going to be some sort of spam or some sort of quote-unquote compromise that may not be legit. Of course, if you have ransomware, it's probably legit because you see that fun little HTML file. But, with a spoofed email like that where they didn't claim any data, they just said that there was an object in the building that's going to cause mass destruction and pay this money or it's going to go off. But I think where that specific bit failed was they did it on such a massive scale on the same day that it hit news and media very quickly to where others that wouldn't be in the sort of mindset to call it just spammy and just kind of throw it out, they automatically knew, oh, this might not be that legit because it's happening all over the nation in a way.
Oh, so it was like so flooded that there was no way that it could be real.
Yeah, it hit news and media coverage so quickly that I think it kind of tarnished the reputation of that email. I'm not saying that they should have done this and, good on them or whatever, but I think they fucked up there. Personally, I would never approach it like that, but obviously I don't do these sorts of things.
Okay, so if you were a criminal,
Yeah, if I was
a criminal,
Yeah.
how would you do it?
I would have spread that shit out over like a couple of weeks, not let it hit mainstream media in 2 freaking hours.
This just in, bomb threats every week.
Yeah, don't do bomb threats every week. I'm not fucking saying
No,
do that.
I'm kidding. All right, man. Oh, that's all I got on this article. Did you want to bring up any topics?
I mean,
We're going to go back and forth. We're going to go back and forth. So you pick one, I pick one. We're going to go back and forth. It's like tag, you're it.
Okay.
Tag, you're it.
I mean, I'm super distracted by this SR71 looking picture on the sidebar, but that's not.
Leave that alone. Leave
Yeah.
that alone. You got to focus.
I mean, so I'll just read this first one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cryptographic failure leads to easy hacking for PlayStation Classic. So, damn, I wish Satchel was here because this is gaming and security all in one.
Wait, what do you mean by PlayStation Classic? They're not calling it one anymore?
No, because they came out with like, you know how like the NES or whatever, they came out with like that new little
Oh, like a Nintendo Classic.
yeah, the PlayStation Classic, dude. Same thing.
Oh shit! All right. Well, I think I need to get that then because my favorite game was Tenchu, but that's another story.
I mean, yeah. So that's all this was, just an open source project. I mean, I guess somebody made it open source or they pulled everything from it. I don't really know, dude.
Can you put that on a Pi?
I'm sure you can. I mean, they have RetroPie, which already does all
that's
those
true.
emulations.
Okay, so here's the problem with RetroPie. I know this has nothing to do with the article.
Yeah, derailed already.
No, sorry. But this has okay. So the problem with RetroPie is that you have to program the different controllers to work with the different systems, and like you can't like the Nintendo 64 doesn't work well on it. Not with like a classic controller. So that's just my only gripe. That's all.
Oh, that was the one gripe.
Yeah. Other than that, it's
I
like
thought you
a
were
pretty
going to
good
go fucking
system.
longer than that, dude. Shit.
No, I had nothing else.
All
I had
right,
nothing else.
Whatever.
All right, let's see here. Let's pick. Oh, this is one I want to bring up. Okay, this is like the fourth or fifth article down from Ars Technica. Ohio Congressman, we can fund the border wall with wall coin. See, the answer to everything is some sort of cryptocurrency.
Why?
I don't
Why?
know.
Is it because fundraising? Really?
Yeah.
Shit. So we need to create. There's already probably a gray coin, huh? Yeah, there probably is. We got someone coming.
Yeah, we have somebody coming to community mic. Remember, the community mic is brought to you by Chenbox Development Training. Still my favorite tagline. Go ahead.
Okay, we got it, Chen.
Yeah.
There are actually a lot of, like HoshoCon, which is wrapped up back in October, which was one of the largest cryptocurrency conferences out here, is all, everybody in fintech kind of has evolved to realize that one of the best ways to run a company now into these astronomical valuations is to open an ICO or initial coin offering. And doing so, you increase your valuation of essentially bits of code that is somewhere on a proprietary blockchain somewhere, or built on top of Ethereum, or built on top of the original blockchain on Bitcoin, to hundreds of millions of dollars based on just speculation alone. So it's kind of, some say it would be a bubble similar to futures contracts when it first started, or derivatives trading back in the 1980s. But it really is, there's a couple of stealth companies here, stealth capital companies who are invested only in Bitcoin companies or ICO companies. Yeah, so that's basically it, is money, is that you can essentially say, hey, we want to launch a coin for this commodity, whether it's like pizza coin or wall coin, and how much hype can we generate this in the market, and how much are people willing to actually pay for this thing.
And so they just funnel money into this coin, and then all of a sudden,
and then you launch, and then
it's also a way to like measure public consensus or public agreement with this idea,
right,
to build the wall or whatever, right?
Right. So there's a lot of like, I think in terms of the way the technology is moving, it's kind of diverging. One is that there is like this speculative portion of it, which is just primarily for money purposes, and you can call it a pump and dump, like get the valuation as high as possible and then get out. Some of them really want to make it sustainable. But then others are actually developing on the distributed ledger platform, which was the core underlying technology of the blockchain anyway, with the immutable tech, and say, hey, we can facilitate contract transactions on this, like merit certificates in Las Vegas, for example. So now it's immutable, right? What happens in Vegas now is existing everywhere. Or just like having lawyer contracts and confidentiality agreements or business agreements. And yeah, I wish Magic Dave was here so he could talk about it. But
yeah, as far as the shop is concerned, he's kind of like the leading expert,
right,
on block. No, but dude, thank you for that.
cool.
So, well, I guess if that's a way to measure, what do you call it? Public consensus of the idea, or All right, dude, tag, you're it.
All right, so I think we talked about I can't remember. It was a couple months ago about Supermicro, and there was huge claims that there was a Chinese spy chip embedded in all of these motherboards and whatnot. But as it turns out, yeah, it was just simply wrong.
Fake news?
Dude, hella fake news.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I can't make that face look like the meme. You don't say.
Yeah, and I was reminded of this by the Bloomberg article for Supermicro motherboards, but directly to the left of that article is another one that says Apple says to Congress, Chinese spy chip story is simply wrong.
Just flat out, like they had.
Yeah,
no-
I mean they had a third party investigate the whole freaking deal.
Did anybody initially believe that the whole Supermicro thing was?
I mean, clearly because people were flipping out.
You believed it?
Still do.
Still do, even after the. So you think this report is a hoax?
You think the report on it being simply wrong is a hoax in itself?
Sorry, everybody. We're getting consensus from our audience here, which, by the way, there are like thousands and thousands of people here in the audience. We really love our live audience. And if you want to be a live audience, you should come down to the Sin Shop. Community Mike, go ahead.
I think that them saying wrong is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't disprove the fact that those chips are in there. And they're not just chips. They're embedded in the dies. So when you manufacture a chip and design a chip, you send that chip to a chip foundry. The chip foundry goes ahead and has to change it for manufacturing purposes. That is where they put in this code, the electronics that allow you to do it. So if you take a look at something called TPAP, which is the anti-terrorism something or other, but basically they look for counterfeit parts in countries that manufacture the parts, such as mainland China. When they send chips over there to be produced, they get to re-engineer them before they're put back into the component. And there was a big scandal in 2012 with Barracuda firewalls.
Oh, I remember that.
They were inserting additional code into the Barracuda firewall chips in China at the request of the Israelis, so they could go and backdoor those things.
But then, so what's the whole third-party investigation deal claiming now that it's not? Why
they're just saying
just to
that
put the
it's
minds
not.
at ease?
They're just saying it's wrong because they have investors.
Okay.
And they have stock, and they're not wrong. They're saying, yes, it's wrong.
it's
That's
like-
the article. You're wrong.
So it's just like, shut up, we're losing money.
They're not even saying that. They're just saying, you're wrong.
That's semantics. They're like, they're
Oh,
our
well,
chips. It's
shit.
our
Right.
code, but it's not our chips.
Right. So you got it's a semantical debate to go ahead and drag people off the subject.
Okay.
And the subject is that there are they call them counterfeit parts out there where they've embedded these backdoors into the hardware when they rechange them for the dies for the manufacturing process in the semiconductor industry.
Okay.
That's all.
Now, we do have a reminder from the live stream that, Supermicro isn't the only one. Like, there was a story a couple of years back about Cisco having additional chips on their boards. So it's not just tied to one company. I mean, it seems to be like standard progress.
The challenge is that people are saying the chips, there's chips, they put chips in there. Well, yeah, actually they're putting the actual chip inside of existing chips. They're putting it on the die. So when they manufacture it, there's not like a physically separate chip. It's actually right there in the chip.
Like a
Part
split
of-
brain thing? Or
Well,
like,
no, it's when you go from a design to manufacturing. The manufacturing engineers go into the Spice Works or whatever you happen to be using for the circuit design, and they modify it based on how they're going to produce the chips in volume. Voltage levels, regulators, all that's typically what they do. But they take a portion of that die and they put their own specific design in there, not code, but the circuits.
like okay.
So because we have 5.5 volts coming out here, so we need to put a regulator in here. And oh, by the way, put the SPI chip over there. It's that type of thing. So they're putting the same chip in. There's not going to be a physically different chip. You'd have to take the top off and take out an electron microscope and scan the thing in order to determine what they did differently from what the original design is. And that's why it's so difficult to find.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like somebody, hey, let's solder another chip in there. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, because it also, it has to be diagrammed out on the actual board too. You can't
And then
just.
you got to look at it, and there's multiple layers and
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
freaking
like magic.
magnets.
We have another comment here in the live stream, which, by the way, if you're not on it, you should be. But I like this comment. I want salsa in my salsa. I think that pretty much sums it up nicely.
Dude, I want some salsa right now.
Actually, yeah, that sounds very good. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay. Let's see. Okay, why driving is hard even for AIs. So this is kind of interesting because every now and then, like every other week, we talk about AI and machine learning and like some sort of automation because we're fans of it. But apparently they're saying that it's hard to program automation for driving. It's something quote unquote as simple as.
Because it always comes down to that like do or die decision of does it choose the right train track or the left one, and which one has, you know, the life that's trying to be preserved if there happens to be one group there and one group there.
Okay, so I am aware of the scenario where like, okay, so
it's the trolley scenario.
Yeah, the trolley scenario where you can either go down this path and kill 8 people, or you can go down this path and kill only the driver and 3 people. By going down this path, you save more lives. Which one do you take, right? That's essentially the trolley scenario.
Yeah.
Does anybody know, and we'll open up community mic in a second, does anybody know if there's a resolution to that as far as programming, or if there's
I have not seen
is there any
yet.
further discussion on that? That's my question. But let's go to community mic.
I don't really have an answer to that, but I do have the whole. Another reason why it's just complicated is there's a lot that goes into driving that people don't realize goes into driving. Like just minute decisions people make just affects everyone.
Yeah, the biggest thing is the human variable.
Because I
which
mean,
is always the
when it
biggest
comes down to
fuck-up.
it, when you're driving, you're not so much trusting in your own ability to drive, but like everyone around you.
Yeah,
And like,
I think about that every day.
yeah, like as soon as you get on the road, you're trusting that that person just doesn't accidentally swerve too far over.
Yeah.
And because you think that, you're now preparing for it, even though it's one of those never happen situations.
I wouldn't say never.
Well, true. I mean, especially in Vegas, it happens a lot. But
Highly
it's one of those things where
improbable.
you're already anticipating it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's super illogical for you to anticipate that. Like someone just slightly does something weird with the car and you're automatically assuming what they're going to do next. Something
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just, while you could plan for, it just becomes a giant tree of if-thens.
And as we learn, as we discussed earlier in the evening, that's all machine learning is, and AI, just a whole bunch of if-thens, right? I'm getting
Scooby-Doo
laughing.
meme.
I'm getting laughing in our thousands of people of audience. No, but you bring up a good point. I think initially when developing AI for, let's say, self-driving cars, there is the logical answer to do things, but driving is highly, I don't want to say illogical because that's not correct, but it's more than just logic, right? You have intuitive things that you need to talk about and prepare for, which of course community Micah has already brought up. But these are things that we don't even really think about necessarily. We almost put it on the back burner of our consciousness. And I'm not condoning this, but how many times do you check your phone while driving because you figured you got a handle on this, or you figured, oh, this is just simply driving straight, right? Like I'm not turning anywhere, so I can do something completely different from driving. My point being, there's a lot that goes into it. And I think we as humans kind of take that for granted as far as what our capability is as far as, making those decisions.
Absolutely. What is,
Okay, well, so I was about to say tag you're it, but we got more community mic because we have thousands of people wanting to. We have a line here.
Just one last thing. And it took me a second for me to remember what it was called, but there are different levels of self-driving, and like they say, Tesla's at level 3, Waymo's at possibly level 4, and level 5 is the golden standard where now you just don't have to touch the wheel, you can sleep in your car type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of like the I don't know what the evolution of self-driving cars has been, and exactly that's the goal, is to be completely hands off. But they've made some pretty interesting ways to manufacture more data for your computer vision training, like when you're doing your reCAPTCHA and you're trying to figure out what the traffic sign is, or the crosswalk, or the bus, or which one of these is a street light. Like that is all feeding into Tesla's model of computer vision. So it's really, really innovative when you think about it. It's because you're now being the human assisted to train this model and also prove that you're a human, which you're trying to build a machine that's trying to drive like a human. So interesting.
It's very interesting route to take.
Good point. All right, man. I think it's now safe to say tag you're it.
I haven't even tagged you once, so has it ever?
We've been going back and forth.
Yeah, I know, but I haven't actually tagged you. You keep tagging me.
You don't like being touched.
I mean, it's whatever.
Your turn. I have an article ready when you're done.
Okay, cool. So I left Ars Technica actually because it was getting boring. I'm on just news from Google's news feed now, and actually,
This is just like technical news.
yeah, just news.google.com, and I have saved searches that I constantly forget about and don't check up on until just now.
Okay.
I totally forgot that Australia is in a huge predicament with their encryption
Oh
stuff.
fuck yeah, we did talk about this.
How
Not last
mu-
week,
not-
but earlier.
Yeah. So they have some whole encryption, shitness going on right now. But Signal, the text messaging app, fully encrypted end to end if both users and parties are using Signal, was requested by the Australian government to create a backdoor for them. And of course, gladly, Signal was like, no, we're not going to do that because that goes against everything. And they're taking the stance that obviously if you give one backdoor to one person, that just opens up the floodgates because now everyone's going to have that, including the lawful and unlawful.
I think when you break it all down, you don't have to be a mathematician to be a politician, but you definitely have to be good at math to really understand the inner workings of cryptography. And I think a lot of politicians do not understand the inner workings of cryptography. Like you can't have key escrow, for instance, without having some sort of like central point of failure or without having some sort of like way for it to just go all really, really, really bad. Okay. I don't know if anybody wants to debate me on that, but you're more than welcome to. My point is, I don't think they truly understand what they're asking for. Or maybe they do, and they just don't give a fuck.
I mean, did you watch that, the Google?
Yeah,
the-
see, and that's the thing. That's why I'm more
when
inclined to think
Google had
the
to
former
testify.
rather than the latter.
Yeah.
I think lawmakers just don't understand what they're asking of these companies. Like it's almost it's like impossible to do what you're asking. Like you can't have it this way and also a backdoor to what you're asking for. Like you can't have a backdoor to encryption and also banking websites to work.
Yeah.
It's just it's not feasible.
Can't have the back door and still be fully encrypted because then
Right,
it's
and
not. Where's the trust line lie?
And I don't know. I mean, okay, I'm not a lobbyist, but if there are any people who are out there who are tech savvy, like maybe people in our community, but who are also lobbyists or people who can maybe explain things in a layman's terms type of thing, to go and explain this to the people that are making these decisions, because they have to understand. They have to understand that what they're asking for is just not kosher.
Yeah.
And now it's my turn to lose my train of thought because that's what I had going for me in my head. But if we actually have nobody for the community mic on this comment. Let me bring up this article here. We have somebody from the live stream now. Yes, just like you ventured out of Ars Technica, I ventured out as well. Here, let's see. The article says, porn sites. You heard that correctly. Porn sites collect more user data than Netflix or Hulu. This is what they do with it. Okay, so of course, I knew this because at the end of every year, Pornhub releases their data of what kind of searches they were requested and from which country, So I'm not necessarily surprised by this article. Now, as far as what they do with this data, I haven't really dug into, but I'm not surprised that they collect more information than Netflix, because they collect information on when, the time of day that these requests are being made.
The most interesting statistic that Pornhub tweets out every single year is the giant drop in activity during the Super Bowl, and then when it's halftime, the holy crap amount of activity that happens, and then subsequently the drop off again.
So like not real sports fans.
I mean, they don't want to watch the halftime show because there's a bunch of fucking commercials and whoever the fuck is playing it. So they'd rather just watch the sports than go do the damn thing during the porn.
Yeah, my bad. I was thinking about inverse. Yeah. So there you go. So you have that statistic, but I mean, dude,
I just find that one the most funny and interesting.
You have statistics on which country searches for foot fetish.
Yeah.
I think that's just fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have to collect that data because they know what CDNs to provide, that region.
Oh, by the way, this reminds me too. There's another way that the porn industry. I heard from a friend.
Okay.
There's another way that the porn industry is actually kind of evolving. So like they'll keep track of what is being searched, and then they'll make that porn.
Yeah.
Like if the porn doesn't exist, they'll take that search and be like, oh, somebody's searching for that.
Wait. Rule 34, dude. The porn exists.
Okay, yeah. Okay, if it exists, there's porn of it. Okay, Rule 34 of the internet. I get that. But I mean, like, when you're talking about, like, really...
Like professional production.
like really specific searches. Let's just leave it at that, right? Like, really specific searches. Like, I don't know. I can't even think of something right now. But where the search is very, very, very detailed... They'll take that and be like, okay, somebody needs this. So they'll fucking make it. And then like, oh, all of a sudden, like when you come back tomorrow, there's a porn of it. I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
That's data working hard for you. It really is, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Literally hard for you.
Data that works. Data that works really hard for you. All right. Let's open up the community mic. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things you think about. If one person isn't searching for it, he's not the only person who wants it, or she's not the only person who wants it. Like,
right. We don't assume gender here.
Exactly. It's one of those things where there's always a demand. They just need to be told what their demand is for.
Yeah.
And I mean, to them, it's free market research.
You know what would be kind of interesting? Okay, so so there's like, Patreon. There's like a ton of people on Patreon. I follow a lot of like cosplayers and stuff because the things that they create are just freaking nuts to me, and artists and stuff. But they've talked about on Twitter how they get really, really fucking weird direct messages asking for, specific videos or specific cosplay. I wonder if these, creators, they could give that information and just sell that information to Pornhub. Like, hey, these are my direct messages for the week. Make this shit because people want it because I don't want to do it. But then that person gets what they want, and then the creator still made some money off of it.
I mean, there's a business idea.
Yeah. I'm going to TM.
Yeah, you got my brain. You got my gears rolling.
Chen's already registering a domain.
Right, but it's almost like, so when we're talking about economics 101 and like supply and demand, it's almost like the demand is now driving the supply, right? Instead of, well, I guess that's how it's always been, though. I mean, that's how it's always been. Yeah, there's a demand for it. Somebody will supply it. So, again, I'm not surprised by this data. I'm not surprised by these statistics. So I just find it to be surprised and to be fascinated is completely two different things. And I am definitely fascinated by what Pornhub and other porn sites have to offer. For research purposes.
Science.
Yeah, for science.
It's for the children.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so that was my detour. I guess we both detoured from Ars Technica. Do you have another article, Zenify? No, you're running out. God, you're killing me.
We're almost done anyway. Shit, dude.
You're what?
I said we're almost done.
Are we?
Yeah, sure.
Oh shit! All right, cool. Let's see. How about one more article each?
Yeah, okay. Well,
okay. I'll do a search. Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's see. NASA's next. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Okay.
At least I hope. I just read NASA's, so we'll see.
You're part of the problem.
Shut up. Okay. NASA's next Mars rover will use AI, to be a better science partner. Now, we already have people face-palming in the audience. If you notice, now, if you remember, I mean, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, NASA's InSight, the second Mars rover, has landed successfully
it wasn't
at
a
Mars.
rover, but okay.
It wasn't.
No, it's not moving around, dude. It's
so it's like they're just collecting data and it's like immediate space.
It's like a seismic testing object, man.
Okay, so it's not moving. Okay,
no, it's not moving.
Okay.
It just landed there. It's gonna probe some shit in the ground, and it's pretty much just gonna listen. It was also the first thing that we sent to Mars that provided audio of what it sounds like on Mars. It's a bunch of wind, but
surprise! Wait. How is the atmosphere out there? Did they report back?
It's only like, what is it, like 0.9% like oxygen compared to our atmosphere.
That's not gonna work. Wait,
yeah.
so what?
That's been known though. That wasn't from the InSight.
Okay, I'm only asking you because you follow this shit.
Yeah.
What is the atmosphere mostly made of?
I don't know. It's pretty much just. I don't think it's carbon. It's just like vacuum.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
it's
just
just
space?
dead space. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, like,
there is no habitable atmosphere. They have a very, very, very light layer that doesn't keep any amount of oxygen or life-sustaining bits in it.
okay, well, because the reason why I'm asking is because a lot of people don't know this, but 73% of Earth's atmosphere is actually. No. Yes. Okay, I knew the audience would know this. They're smarter than us. Yes, it is nitrogen, not oxygen.
He didn't know that. He was just really banking.
No, shut up. I knew that. I totally knew that. No, okay, so that's kind of interesting. I didn't know that the second thing was not moving.
Yeah,
but
it
maybe this
doesn't
third
move.
one will. And it uses AI.
Cool.
Imagine if it didn't move and it used AI.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm stuck here.
That's Shadow.
I'm sentient and I know that I'm stuck. I'm stuck here and I can't move.
That would
but
suck.
hey,
I mean, like
I'll test this dirt.
the Curiosity rover, like the saddest thing ever. Not really that sad, but it sings itself "Happy Birthday" every year.
I heard that. That is
because
kind of
it's
sad.
just like,
It doesn't even know what it's doing.
yeah, it does kind of. I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, you passed the butter.
No, it just no. The rover had like a cron job that said, "Oh, 365 days, happy birthday to me."
Yeah, that's pretty much what it did.
Yeah, it's not sentient.
Yeah. Well.
It doesn't feel bad.
Okay.
I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So that is what we do when we have the whole lightning round for the show. We don't have a lightning round because that's the whole show. We went as slow as possible with distractions and detours in between. So, but now, if I follow the data set, I had Satchel here with me last week. I had you here with me this week. Are you going to be here next week?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll never really get to interview Doxy.
Was this an interview? Did
Well,
I get the
no,
job?
okay.
I have a job.
No, what I mean is, I guess I'll never have a chance to have Doxy by myself.
That's kind of weird.
That sounds
dude.
weird. No, I mean, I meant, okay, so.
Are we supposed to be doing something after this?
No,
I'm kind of fucking creeped out, dude.
No, I'm just saying, with pattern recognition, I should have him next week just to
All to
shoot the
yourself?
shit.
Damn, dude.
I know.
You're
I don't.
selfish.
I don't think I want that though.
Are you sure?
No, I don't. I don't think I want
Doxy's
Satchel.
pretty amazing.
Not Satchel. Well, I definitely don't want Satchel to myself again.
Why not?
I know he's watching, so I know I'm gonna fuck with him. No, but I think if I had Doxy all to myself, I would just troll the shit out of him with cheese, dark roast jokes,
Yeah, you just bring, like, a breadboard.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. And of course, RTFM. He'll watch this later.
No, you won't.
No, he won't. I can say anything I want about Doxy, and it's fine. Anyway, so we have run out of time, but never out of shit to say. So join us again next week, where I believe at least we'll have 3 hosts.
Yeah, no, we should.
Or 4. Yeah, actually, you know what?
I'm not banking on Doxy being here because he did tell me he was going to be out the entire month of December, but then he told me yesterday that he'll be here next week. I'm not buying it. So it's probably going to be 3 of us next week.
We really should have like a pool or like a betting, like a sports book on who will show up or when they'll show up. I don't think Doxy will be here until January. That's my personal take on things. It's like a December without Doxy.
Okay.
Like a Doxyless December.
Uh-huh.
Doxless December.
Yeah, I got it.
Or, don't dox me December.
Yeah, I got the first one.
No dogs December.
December without a dark roast.
What?
Dark roast comedy?
Okay.
Anyway.
Sounds racist, dude.
No, that's not a racist joke.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we have more face palms in the audience. So my time here is done.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've run out of time, but never out of shit to say. So join us again next week, where again, I believe at least 3 of us will be here, and we'll talk about more shit. So we are here at the Sin Shop. The address is 1075 American Pacific Drive, Sweet Sea in Henderson, Nevada. Don't murder me, please. I am giving you the keys to the kingdom. Go to synshop.org. That's synshop.org for more information on the shop.
Oh,
Remember,
wait, I was supposed to mention something.
you were.
Yeah.
you
I'm
know what
totally
it
going to
is?
mention that now. If you are looking for a job and
Oh, shit, yeah.
something along the lines of that, McCarran Airport is hiring a security engineer. That's about it. You could apply on their whatever government website that is.
Okay, so if you get employed because of the podcast, hey.
Yeah, I demand a reference and beers and probably pizza somewhere along the way.
Well, you should have been here for Lockpick this week.
Bitch.
You missed out. It was a really good pizza too. It had
I'm
garlic.
only a
and
short DM away at all times.
You said you said you couldn't come though. I thought you couldn't come this week.
Did I say that?
You said you were gonna miss it again, like you always do.
Shit.
Wait, we got to talk about that after the show. Only because that's really personal business. Wink, wink. No, I'm.
What?
I don't know.
Dude, you're
I don't know
all
what I'm
about
saying.
these weird sexual innuendos. You're talking about Pornhub.
Is it weird? Is it
Yeah.
is it really weird? Okay.
I'm just like, I'm
holy
feeling
crap.
uncomfortable.
This is the weirdest sign off I think I've ever had. Anyway, go to sinshop.org for information on us. I believe I've already spelled it out for you, literally. Go to meetup.com/sinshop for information on the classes
it's
that we
meetup.
provide.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see, we've got Lockpick that just passed, but it's the second Monday of every month. We always got classes on 3D printing, electronics, laser cutting. We have all that shit in the back. Somebody right now I think is working on the metal lathe. And like welding and shit. But we always have things going on here. So come down, visit us, hang out. We're here all week, most of us. Anyway, go for information on our podcast, go to Greynoise, GREYNOI.se. Remember, we don't talk shit about Sweden, so we can have this domain. That's the rules. That's seriously the rules. You can't talk shit about Sweden, and you can have the .se, right? The Swedish domain.
Is that really the rules?
That's the rules. That's what BGM told me. I believe everything he says.
Okay.
Anyway, my name is Master Chen,
I'm Zenify.
and that's it. So nobody else is here. Good night, everybody. Thousands of audience members. Thousands.
We demand you to
Yeah,
clap.
there you go. Louder, louder, louder. All right, good night.